Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Technically, this is starting to record.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my.
Disgusting. Bowie, say hi.
Bowie? Good boy.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
What a distinguished gentleman.
You think it's silence, but it's really just him sniffing the microphone. Yes, it was my good boy.
Man.
There's some kisses.
So,
ASMR kisses.
this is, we're going to try, welcome to Matinee Edition.
Well,
This
episode
is
81,
81,
technically.
yes. So we're here. This is going to be a relatively quick pod. We're thinking about 35 minutes-ish.
Yeah.
We just got out of Shang-Chi.
Oh, yes.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. Yes, it was a fantastic experience. It's a fun movie, man.
It's a blast.
It's a fun movie.
It's exactly what I wanted.
It really gives you just like off the cuff without like really getting into spoilers, which we are going to probably.
We'll do like a few minutes non-spoiler.
Exactly, but just off the cuff, it's a really fun, well-paced movie.
Yeah.
And there's Awkwafina provides some really good humor relief, but
Absolutely.
So does another character. We'll talk about.
We'll talk about that.
That goes into the other section. And it expands quite a bit of things. In terms of like certain Marvel elements, we'll say.
So I mean,
it's
it
really
is not without
really cool.
It is not without its flaws,
Of course,
but it is a very good time overall.
oh yeah, it's definitely one like almost every single Marvel movie. It's really, I just want to say that we went to the theater to go see it.
Yeah.
It's really worth going to the theater to go
Absolutely.
see if you're planning on seeing it.
If you're comfortable, go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're not feeling like going to a theater yet, it's gonna be on Disney Plus in a month. That's their release timeline now.
Nice.
So it'll be out soon if you're not comfortable, but I agree with Jared. Go and check it out in a theater if you're cool with that.
Yeah.
It deserves your support, and because we got to remember, we like Marvel. There are some great creatives there, but the fucking businessmen that run Disney, specifically Bob Iger, calling an Asian-led film an experiment recently in a press junket, where he got torn apart by Simu Liu, rightfully so afterwards.
Oh yeah. Which, by the way, I just want to touch on that. Kudos to him for one, holding down the promotion
Absolutely.
On this fucking movie, and two, not letting that asshole talk like that. You know what I mean?
That's bullshit.
Like, how dare you?
And I think go out, watch this movie. Once on Disney Plus, watch it, because it's important that we prove to these fucking jaded businessmen that think that only white dudes can headline a film and have it make money, that we can prove that that's a thing of the fucking past, because this movie's great.
Oh yeah,
it's a good time.
Oh yeah. Well, and just again a little off the top, just that mentality in general. Like, if you've ever been a fan of a fucking kung fu movie, if you've ever seen a Jackie Chan movie that you fucking enjoy, then you know that that mindset is so outdated. That mindset is
incredibly outdated.
Completely I don't know. It's just if the white man was the only thing great about cinema, then we'd have really fucking boring cinema now. You know what I mean?
Just James Bond.
It would be just James Bond and remakes of The Taxi Driver.
Like Die Hard.
It's just not even Die Hard. Not even great action
actually.
movies, because it's a lot of great action movies. You see choreographed sequences that require martial arts techniques.
Exactly. He's right. It would all be just guns.
And so anyway, the point is, I really hope that they continue to make more martial arts centric and I want to say other cultures centered movies, because they're really fucking interesting. And why not use Marvel superheroes as a great conduit to expand the cultural narrative.
It's a great jumping off point.
Like, so, this was a good movie for that.
It's a good movie. And actually, what I was just saying a moment ago with it's stuff like this needs to make money. Apparently it did pretty well because Sony saw how good it did. And they finally gave Venom 2 a firm release date,
which is so funny because they've had like 5 in total now.
I know. it's really funny. It's sort of bullshit,
but it's really funny though. But because they're just like, well, this is our one good property that we have. Like, or supposed
no one's gonna watch Mobius.
Like, how are we gonna make this work?
I used to listen to a podcast called Dude Soup.
Dude Soup.
And they great from Funhouse, great podcast. They had a segment called Mount Up for Morbius or for Mobius, where they started it like 3 months before it was supposed to be released, like last December, before it originally got delayed, and then got COVID delayed. And they can't it got delayed, and they were like, guys, this was supposed to be like a once every other week, 3-month segment. Yeah. I don't have enough facts about this character to go on.
Nor do you. I mean, like that joke, you can't keep that joke up because it's no longer funny after a while. Like to you, you know what I mean? Hey! The fuck was that?
Spooky. Genuinely terrified.
Yeah. Next time they're getting cut off like the hand, like the alien hand in Signs. Fucking chopping some fingers off next time.
Drip water on him.
Yeah, leave a glass of water. I'm gonna start leaving glasses of water around the house. I can't hear you anymore. I am talking just so the hot dog understands. I think I'm talking to my fiance through the door.
Oh, she emerges.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh, looking for our dog. That's what you. Well, there goes the guest spot. All right.
Let the dog go out.
Get out, Bowie.
Bye, Bowie.
Get out, Bowie.
Congratulations on the new job, Nadine.
Thanks. Oh yeah, that's right. She's a teacher now. Well, she's been a teacher. She has her own classroom now. That's what I keep saying to people. Anyway. Now that segment segment is
send
done.
the love. Send the love.
Yeah, send the love. And that was our random section.
Has to happen
of stuff. So
check the box.
We've branched quite far away from Shang-Chi at this point.
But
no.
Back
so
to Shang-Chi.
Well, hold on. Back to Sony though, really quick.
Okay.
But I just want to point out, you mentioned Mobius or Morbius or whatever the fuck. And it's so true though. Like they're so desperate to try. And we were talking about this a little earlier, but they're so desperate to try to make anything property-wise that they have that's like in relation to superhero movies that. You have Morbius or Mobius or whatever, and you have fucking these Venom movies that are coming out, which
Kraven.
And the Kraven movie, which is nobody wants these solo movies.
They're Spider-Man
not
ones.
even the Venom ones. Nobody wants these fucking movies because and they may be all, the Venom one may be all right.
Venom
everybody
is serviceable
wants
because Venom eventually became a hero in the comics.
Well, Venom is the reason why Venom's so fucking cool is because of his dynamic with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And without that at all, then you're just okay. So I'm just they're trying to sell me on this character that I've never had a chance to experience in the way that I'm supposed to.
Exactly. Which I will say, and this does have something, this can actually bring us back to Shang-Chi.
Fair enough.
I am perfectly fine with reinterpretations of character. The way that it happened in the comics does not have to be the way that it happened in the film.
Oh yeah.
Thanos is a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think with Sony's products, you can make a Venom movie that is genuinely good without any relation to Spider-Man. But you have to really commit to doing it well.
Yeah.
And you can't sort of have Spider-Man in your back pocket and be they might eventually meet up. If Marvel if Daddy Feige
fucking lets you borrow
lets you borrow Spider-Man for Venom 2.
Daddy Feige, can Spider-Man come out to play?
I know, it's that type of shit, man. But it's back to Shang-Chi.
But it's true though.
The way that they've in the film that they sort of adapted the source material, like they made Shang-Chi extremely relatable. Number one, completely helps as Simu Liu is a very charismatic lead and very likable in that role.
Yeah.
And
he did a great job.
He did a great job. And Wen Wu, the Mandarin's actual name, he is very well written, very good villain, all around a pretty good character.
Yeah, what's his name? Tony
Leung.
Yeah, he long time staple of just martial arts cinema and Chinese cinema.
Yeah, he's known for doing a lot of like really good like romantic drama type stuff.
Exactly, and like that's what I mean. Where he's like a Richard Gere type like actor, where it's like he's the distinguished like rich guy.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Plays it with charisma. You know.
And he did a really fucking great job. He was actually probably my favorite character out of this movie.
Absolutely, me too.
Because he was so fucking tragic.
It was sad.
It was so sad. And that was the thing that surprised me about this movie.
Yeah. Was
that there was this heavy tone to a lot of the movie.
I know, it was heavy shit.
You know?
But it's so incredibly relatable because it's all playing off of like it's an exaggerated version of a family dynamic that we have all felt. That sort of push and pull between whether you're going to follow the path laid out for you or make your own way. And they lay out those themes through the whole thing, from the fucking beginning.
Oh, totally.
And it's like, and it's used to great effect to such a point, and it paints that type of familial conflict in a very appropriate way. Considering that you do feel empathy for the fucking murdering mob boss, murdering like centuries old mob boss.
Yeah.
Well, you feel bad for him by the end, but
really
you also
do.
understand him, and it's like it's used so well.
Yeah, and that was like one of the things about this movie that stood out was that they in a very short time, the movie's like 2 hours and
it feels
20 minutes long or something like that.
Yeah.
And within that time, they do a lot of decent character development.
Yeah.
Like, not only for
should we get into spoilers just so we can open this up?
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
You've heard us hot dogs. We think it's a good movie.
We think it's a good movie.
So if you don't want to actually hear details about the movie, stop listening, go watch it, and then come back.
Yeah, do it. It's worth a watch, like we said earlier.
Yeah,
please do.
So
character growth.
There you go. And
quick character growth, but effective.
Yeah, and particularly with, I like that they. They kind of they touch on the Mandarin thing and they make fun of it, but
Trevor Slattery shows up.
Yeah, but what was it? Wen Wu.
Yes.
So Wen Wu. He's just this really interesting character because out of nowhere you get the story from the beginning about this warlord who discovers he not even discovers, he has these rings.
He's Genghis Khan.
And and throughout time, it shows this cool montage of like throughout time him fucking shit up and taking shit over, including like this really quick battle with a bunch of Romans, things like that, and it was really cool, just like to have that quick, travel through time experience.
Yeah, good prologue, right?
Exactly, and and then you dive right into this like the love story aspect of his character. In a way, like they introduce, his future wife and stuff real quick, and it's this really great, beautiful scene.
Yeah, it really emphasizes the martial arts scenes, and a lot of times during the film look almost like dancing, and they play on that.
Well, and I'm not going to be the first person to say this, but I will say this for this podcast: the people, like the martial arts of Tao Lo, very much reminds me of airbending.
Oh, holy shit, dude!
So even like the circular movements and the defensive movements.
I was gonna say that, dude. The Netflix
so
guys, which they actually, we'll talk about this in our time. The Netflix has a cast. The Netflix show has a cast now.
Yeah,
they should take notes based on how, like, they fucking interpreted the sort of movements.
Oh yeah. I bet those guys. I bet the people working on that live action series are cheesed because they're probably like, these fucking people stole the airbending idea. I don't know what the context was for that, it was probably an unnecessary addition.
But it was cool as fuck.
But it was cool as fuck. And, like, you know what I mean? Like it was like you know, these fight scenes were really neat either way.
Yeah.
But like, you know, they're probably just looking at it and being like, how can we like step it up a little bit more? You know? Like,
yeah. Well, I think it's supposed to be. You see in kung fu films and just martial arts films in general, there's always this level, and not all of them, but in some of them, there's an element of mysticism that comes with the martial arts.
Oh, for sure.
And I think it's really playing into that element where it's like, this is truly something that is trained by the gods, you know, like it is bestowed upon man.
Yeah,
and it's sort of this absolutely like next level thing once you achieve it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I mean, within the context of the movie, it definitely makes like there's a place for it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And the like it makes sense because that's like a great defensive tool against the 10 rings, you know, and like the other big powers and whatnot. But yeah, it was just like I mean, like I said, I bet the people working on that live action choreography for Airbender were probably cheesed a little bit.
So
or maybe they are gonna have, maybe they're like friends with the people that work on that studio. So they're like,
who
oh,
knows?
yeah. We've got some good stuff for it.
I want to bring up the effectiveness. Once again, dealing with the story and the family dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
This film had really, really effective use of flashbacks.
Oh yeah, I'm not a huge flashback fan.
Neither am I.
Particularly since Supernatural just kind of ruined it. I don't know if you like.
I've seen some of Supernatural, but
there's this character in that show named Sam, and like every fucking episode he has flashbacks like a motherfucker, and you're just like, God, I get it, dude. Like you're standing around for at least half an hour a day, thinking about past events. Anyway, in this movie, it's really well, it's put to use. So,
great child actors.
Yeah, and I mean, what was interesting about a lot of the flashback scenes were that none of them were pleasant.
Yeah,
like, and that played into, you know, the current state of the characters and everything, obviously. But, you know, you see, you know, training sequences. You know, all centered a lot. I think a lot of like the younger flashbacks at first were centered around some of those training sequences, and you know, learning about sort of life post the death of their mother.
You know, the only good flashback we see is from Wenwu's perspective.
Yeah,
but then.
Which is interesting.
It's a very interesting way. And actually, you can see it with the courtyard as well. I noticed that this was my second time seeing the movie. I saw it opening night and then I watched it with Jared. You actually see in the courtyard they're training in. It gets turned into like a beautiful garden when the family's all happy. Yeah. Right after the mom dies, they demolish the garden. They replace it with the training ground. The tree is still planted and alive. But when they go back after 10 years, after Shang-Chi is captured and they go back to the compound, tree's long dead. Oh, yeah. And it's like, good symbolism, but it speaks to the trauma of the younger characters and how they were affected by being raised in such a harsh environment that the only things they remember are the brutal parts.
Oh yeah, exactly. And like it's like I said, it speaks really, like it plays really well into like how you're supposed to understand the mental current mental state of not only Shang-Chi but
Zhang, his sister, who is underused in this film.
Very much so, but like also had some badass parts, dude. Like
I love the
I wish there was some more,
scorpion.
But like, oh yeah, dude. Like that whole shit was cool, man. Like her, like it was like a giant like dragon scale blade attached to that rope.
Yeah, with a pummel on the other end.
Yeah, dude, fucking badass.
They're spoilers for one of the post-credit scenes. She is maintaining the 10 rings along with Razor Fist. So we will see more of her.
I want to see a fight between Taserface and Razor Fist.
I just think I was blown away that Razor Fist didn't die. Florian Montaño,
random character
who plays him, who he got to start. He's actually a boxer from the Ukraine.
Oh, okay.
And he got his first acting credit playing Victor Drago, son of Ivan Drago in Creed 2. And he was so good in that movie. Like, and I was blown away. I was like, this dude has no acting credits, but he's like selling it. Great. I'm so happy they didn't kill him. Yeah. He's going to die in the next movie.
Well, yeah. I mean, either way, like, I think what they, like, with him, you know, you think he's going to be like a really big, scary villain.
Yeah.
And by the end of the movie, he kind of turns into this like the opposite of like a scary assassin guy. He's like,
Yeah.
not the opposite, but he's
Sort
like
of humiliated.
he's sort of humiliated, a little more humble, like
Yeah.
and like you kind of see him in a little bit of a comical light almost,
Yeah.
like
They steal his car.
yeah,
His car has razor fist across the side.
and like graffiti like text on the side.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie, like overall though, it like there's like it was really interesting. Like they don't explain dick all about the 10 rings.
No.
Which plays into one of the post-credit scenes, the mid-credit scene.
I want to quickly, before we get too far away from flashbacks.
Yeah.
When in the flash, one of the cool things about it is they slowly show what happened to their mother.
Mm.
And did you notice in the scene where they're like Shang-Chi's over the body, how many fucking people she killed?
Oh yeah, man. Like that was the cool thing about that scene is that like
their bodies littered everywhere.
Yeah. So there's the scene we're referencing is eventually in the movie you come to this sequence where the death of Shang-Chi, the matriarch of the family, has been like this thing that keeps popping up. It's a really relevant thing for all 3 of the main characters.
Yep.
And eventually you find out that the way she died wasn't like, dude, she went out like a fucking badass. All right, so like,
awesome.
so like a bunch of thugs show up to fucking take their revenge on.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they fucking, it's like 5 guys at first, 6 guys, and so she's like, your beef isn't with my kids, and they're like,
fight me.
Yeah, they're like, well, we still gotta fucking mess shit up, and so she's like, all right, so she stands up, she bows up to him, man. She like draws that line in the fucking sand with her toe, and then like 20 more dudes show up.
Yeah.
It's like, the fuck, dude. I kept thinking during this, I was like, not only is she a badass fighter either way, but it's like, who the fuck are these guys that are like, okay, fine, our revenge is going to be showing up to this dude's house and 20 dudes are going to just beat the fuck out of this woman. Like that.
And she put up a fight.
That was their idea. And anyway, so the whole point is, yeah, she puts up this hell of a fight and there's like bodies littered all throughout their courtyard.
Yeah.
And that's how, and you find out that she, perishes, defending her kids basically.
And the following fight scene with Wenwu in the like club,
I felt that moment, dude. Like that was the thing. That was one of those connecting moments with him, though. You're just like his fucking,
you can totally empathize.
His like the love of his fucking life, the love of the 1,000 years that this man has been alive, has just gotten beaten to fucking death because of him. And
puts back on the rings and just wrecks shop.
Just fucks up
that
all those people, dude.
Excellent cinematography. The scene, the mirror, seeing the fight happen in the mirror, and then the mirror getting broken by a body.
Dude, some of the shots and stuff really like honestly reminded me of some martial arts movies that I've seen.
The bus scene
where it's like
was like straight out of
the
Rush
camera
Hour.
angles, like the way they're following, like the choreography. It was fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
And like, it's strange because I like on one hand you're like, okay, this is like a huge movie.
Yeah.
And so it's like Disney kind of co-opting martial arts movies.
Yeah.
But at least you're like,
but it does it so well.
They're putting it in the mainstream.
But it does it well.
Yeah.
And
it does it well. And
that's the difference. If it did it badly and it was claimed to be a kung fu movie, then I'd have a problem.
The thing I worry about though is that they're kind of like tying certain elements together, like the idea that like the 10 rings are really heavily involved with this character called the Mandarin.
Yeah.
The ancient city that is protected by a mystical dragon who they may or may not be claiming is Fing Fang Foom.
Not that one though.
This is all jammed into a Shang-Chi movie.
A lot.
So it's like a lot of the, let's say, I don't know, cultural aspects that Marvel's taken over the years for some of their characters, particularly in, whether it's Chinese culture or other cultures from the continent of Asia, we'll say.
Yeah.
It seems strange that they're jamming all of those into like a single storyline.
Yeah.
And including even bringing in Wong, which was a really cool addition, but it's also like, are you just trying to flex like all of your like
Asian cast members?
Yeah, are you just trying to like, is that what this is?
Yeah.
Like, are you just trying to show that like you're diverse with this movie? And I don't want to think that, but because this is a really fun movie, but it's also like this. I mean, it seems like it seems like a pretty big like business kind of move to do.
Yeah, it's the whole thing of like wasn't.
It's why the main thing about the Eternals that they're trying to push is that it has a really diverse cast.
Yeah.
Like,
is it a good selling point for a film nowadays? Yes.
It is.
It gets people in the door.
I just I think it's kind of disingenuous to hyper focus on that though, because then it becomes like this is the reason, like you're pandering at that point. That said,
it's important to draw a line between the marketing of it, which is controlled by the studio for the most part, and the film. The film itself, I feel like, doesn't pander too hard. It's just telling a story where the main players just happen to be a Chinese family. And
with stuff that's like really heavily like all centered with things that are all centered around like like Chinese folklore.
Yes. Yes, but you got to be able to distinguish that like the stuff. I guarantee the screenwriter was given something like, we want Wong in this movie. It wasn't like it wasn't the choice of the writers. If they had their pick, you see a bunch of stuff with like Black Widow.
Well, it's like it's like one of those things. Like Disney's giving you a chance to write a Marvel movie. You're not going to turn it down. Disney's giving you a chance to direct a fucking Marvel movie. Yeah. You're probably not going to turn it down. Like,
actually, I saw something interesting.
Well, the Russo brothers did recently, probably. I think.
I did see something very interesting about that.
Yeah.
So when
in relation to the Scarlet Witch, there's Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, really?
We're talking about two different things, I think. Then.
Well, about this, about the what you're talking about with the Asian element, the writer and the director were both approached by Marvel, just being told that they wanted them to write and direct a film about an Asian superhero, and they didn't tell them who until they'd already signed them.
Yeah.
So they thought it was Amadeus Cho, the totally awesome Hulk.
Yeah, but that would have been a stupid choice.
It is a dumb choice
because it's not nearly a popular enough character.
It is a dumb choice, but I'm just saying it's like it shows that they probably were given some kind of marching orders from the top. Like there's a plan for this stuff.
Because Amadeus Cho is already like a pretty like
niche character.
Well, let's say like. He wouldn't be a great representation of any sort of cultural steps because he's not. I think he's an American character, an Asian American character.
Yeah. He's Korean American
who's really smart. So
I know it's sort of playing by a stereotype.
Well, he can do like mathematical things in his head, like by memory or something.
But
anyway, my point is this movie. You have to like set that aside.
Yeah.
And like once you do, you can find the enjoyment and the great. Representational that's not even a fucking word, the great representation that this movie does provide for things that you might not be exposed to, particularly me as like a fucking white guy. I had this really great friend growing up named Luke Gillespie, and for a really long time I just never understood the fact that he was like adopted. He was adopted from South Korea when he was a baby.
Oh, okay.
And I just never understood. It never like clicked with me. And then recently I've been seeing that he's been really stoked about this movie.
Yeah.
And about like particularly some of the things that Simu Liu has been able to say like in regards to being like, in the spotlight now.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. It's like really cool to be able to see that. And it's like something that I don't, from my perspective or another, I can appreciate to one degree, but I don't understand that feeling fully.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that that's happening for other people in this moment.
Neither of us can speak to that.
Because it is a huge deal when mainstream things want to try to sort of showcase other other cultures and other like other traditions and other people, just in general.
I mean, like
especially it's a big deal in American culture.
Yeah, I know it's a cliche thing to say, and it's been said a lot, but like imagine the Asian kid who watches this and is like, "This is my hero,"
Well, exactly.
It's like a lot of white people. We don't acknowledge it because we don't see.
Hey man,
can
we
see
had
ourselves
we
in
had
fucking
Tobey
everybody.
Maguire as Spider-Man growing up. Okay,
Exactly. It's like, and I mean, like
it's like true, but also.
I know.
But the point is that like we, like, like my friend Luke, he has not had a Shang-Chi before.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's why I tell people when people ask me about Marvel movies in general.
Yeah.
It's like, as a nerd who's grown up, it is, no matter like how blah these, like, a Marvel movie has the potential to be, or how amazing they are, like, it is irregardless super cool to me, because I never thought I'd have a chance to see superheroes on screen.
Yeah.
And so, like, to actually have like something like Shang-Chi as a representation for other people that haven't had that brings a whole, like, it does bring a whole side to this movie.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, it's like I said though earlier, it seemed like they could have spread out some of the elements of this movie a little bit more. But what I love is that, like,
the monster fight could have been saved for a second film.
It could have. The inclusion of Wong, which was cool, we all knew he was going to fight the Abomination, which was really cool, and you saw a little bit more of that.
Did you notice he called him Emil?
Yeah, he did, and I heard it was confirmed that he was, like,
the training.
Yeah. So, I thought that was cool, but it was also like, why can't Wong be bringing back, Shang-Chi and Katie at the end of the movie to go visit Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
Why is it just Wong and Shang-Chi?
This is my theory about that. He's
probably currently gallivanting around the multiverse with Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the non-jaded part of me. I totally understand the perspective you're coming from, that it's probably pandering, and there's a real chance that it is.
Yeah.
But I've got a feeling that this movie lines up with Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, in classic MCU fashion, like, a lot of this movie, as well as a lot of other movies, are definitely gonna, like, start tying together, like,
exactly
all the phase together. I mean, that's why, like, that mid-credit scene, you see the hologram guest appearance of two Avengers.
Bruce Banner, who's not hulked out.
Yeah.
Which is
not
weird.
Professor Hulk.
Not Professor Hulk, just Banner.
Yeah, and this does take place after the events of Endgame and whatnot.
He's got the brace on still. Yeah. Looks like he's still healing.
Yeah.
And we see Captain Marvel.
Yeah. And so, and even with that scene, they foreshadow, your lives are about to change, and so it's like, that's, like, they're officially part of the phase.
Yeah. Oh, that Katie's like an honorary Avenger.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I mean, Awkwafina had a lot bigger of a part than I thought she would. I knew she was going to be the sidekick throughout, but I didn't know
that she
would have like some moments. You know what I mean?
She'd shoot the fucking soul sucker through the throat.
Soul sucker. That was the other thing, though. So, like,
that was a bit much for me.
The fact that, like, the main climactic, like, element to this was just like some sort of, like, random, I don't know, flying monster that sucks souls. I was like, what is like the canon for this? Like, where is this creature coming from?
Yeah,
like,
it came from a bit out of the blue.
They just needed something to fight a giant dragon. That's
but Shang-Chi's kill shot with the rings and that thing was fucking sick.
It was cool, man, and that was the thing that I really, one of those elements of this movie that, like, was really cool, was that you just don't know, like, the extent of the power that those things have, because you've seen them do a variety. You've seen the Ten Rings do a variety of different things.
Yeah, he's like doing like pushes. He's using them like a whip.
Yeah, dude. Like, he's you're using them as, like, chains. You're swinging with them. You're fucking doing all sorts of things. You're shooting You're shooting them like projectiles.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he, like, uses them in that big golden explosion, and he puts
them in the thing's mouth and rips it apart from the inside.
It's just fucking intense, dude. And
I just love that shot of the ring spiraling around in his stomach, and you could see in the rain Shang-Chi flying downwards towards the monster. I was like, that's some Dragon Ball Z shit.
There's some epic moments.
That's some real anime, like Goosebumps type stuff.
Yeah. There was a lot in the, like, okay, so
spinning through the air, doing martial arts moves. while the rings are spinning below him. It's pretty sick.
The one character I still had questions about at the end of this movie, just offhand, was that assassin character that had like the white makeup.
Oh, the Death Dealer.
The Death Dealer. So the Death Dealer gets just
a red herring.
Just gets fucking dealt out really quick at the end. Well, not really quick, but like near the end, as the baby soul suckers are like, starting to attack or whatever. Yeah, that like badass assassin just gets like picked up and fucking taken out.
I actually want to. So I feel maybe I think we're sort of getting towards the end here.
Yeah, we covered most of the movie.
We covered most of the movie at this point. It was like the Death Dealer. It was sort of a red herring, but I'm cool with it.
Oh, totally.
It's like
you just thought there's something else going on.
You thought there's something else going on.
It was a good bait.
You might just have to, like with everything. And I think one of the things we've become obsessed with in interconnected franchise work, like we're talking about, which we're gonna have to save our brief Knives Out rant we had.
Oh yeah.
teaser for the next episode of Matinee Edition. But one thing that we've become obsessed with is greater meaning and fucking everything in these movies.
Yeah.
So you get a character that looks somewhat interesting, and then they die.
They're coming back to life, aren't they?
It doesn't. I guarantee the Death Dealer ain't coming back to life.
That motherfucker's dead.
God, its soul. It actually.
But that's it. But
the
that's
soul
it,
sucking reminds me of the what are the things from Harry Potter? The Dementors.
Oh yeah, the Dementors, dude.
yeah.
They definitely have this Dementor-like element. Although
it's like squid Dementors.
Although apparently our souls in the Marvel universe are a lot more like colorful and sparkly, which I'm kind of cool with.
The scene of real spoilers here. Wen Wu getting the soul sucked out of him, and putting the ring, like sending the rings off to Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
was a very impactful moment.
It was, man. It was because, like, I mean, just in general, like, just really quick with that, but like, it was, their relationship was such a struggle to that whole movie.
Yeah.
And again, you get really attached to Wenwu because, like, you understand the tragedy that he's going through.
Yeah.
And you understand that he's gone about dealing with it in the wrong way,
and he realizes it.
And he realizes it by the end of the movie, and you're like, "Fuck, dude!" Like
he said at the beginning, one of the beginning things in the movie was like, "You have to strengthen your body and mind if you eventually want the rings."
Yeah,
I think it's that moment paying off.
I agree.
He realized that his son is ready.
Yeah,
passing on the responsibility, passing on the torch.
Not only is he has he been like physically ready this entire time, but he's finally he's developed.
Yeah, so
I'm interested to see though if like further Shang-Chi if he'll be using the rings in the future. You know what I mean?
I don't think he'll be wearing them.
That's the question though, right? Because it's like
it makes you immortal.
It makes you immortal, but like I mean, technically he has his own fucking power set, right? Like technically he's already like not only is he like one of the greatest martial artists on the planet, if not the greatest, he's ridiculously fast. He can duplicate himself. He can
duplicate himself?
Oh yeah,
dude, that's a
so it's like will they develop more like abilities of his own, or will they develop more things for him to do with the rings?
With the rings, man.
Which either way will be kind of interesting.
That's what I guarantee, because the rings in the comics, the rings have a completely different power set.
Yeah. Like each ring actually, I think, has like a slightly different power set from each other.
Like one of them,
they all work in
they all have different effects on the user. So I would imagine it'd be super sweet if in the next movie he's not wearing them all the time.
Yeah.
But when he's going into like a fight or something, puts on the rings, and we're able to see some things he's learned about him.
Oh yeah.
Especially with potentially the help of characters like Wong and Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
He can potentially unlock some of the more mystical elements.
Yeah.
Well, they made a big deal about the rings being potentially the key to the future.
That was the thing that was crazy to me, was that mid-credit scene. Like, it really wasn't about characters.
Yeah.
It was about the fucking rings, right?
Yeah.
And you find out, this is the last spoiler I'll give, but you find out in that mid-credit scene that there's like some sort of beacon and pulse
coming the rings,
off of the rings.
Yeah.
And nobody has any idea where these rings are from or how old they actually are, really. Or
Wong makes a point that they've never seen anything like him at Kamartaj.
Yeah. But so, like, again, though, what if they're actually like a multiversal thing?
Who knows, man?
You know what I
What
mean?
if they
Maybe they're from a
came
different fucking
world?
dimension. Yeah.
Which
dude.
that's Ta Lo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, they did.
Even the fucking
Verified.
Even the portal to Ta Lo is just a water sling ring.
Yeah, that's true. That's fucking wild.
So
Anyway, definitely.
before we wrap up,
Yeah.
what was your favorite action sequence? Because that's one of the greatest strengths of this movie.
My
The
favorite
scenes are
action
fucking awesome.
my favorite action sequence was probably the one that was sort of teased in one of the trailers. The skyscraper scene.
Oh, the scaffolding.
I really
was
loved
sick.
the scaffolding fight scene, and then like the brief moments where you get Shang-Chi fighting the Death Dealer.
Oh, in front of like
just because of that cool neon background where they were like like that in front of that like that screen or whatever.
Dude,
it looked cool.
I had serious problems with Black Widow's fight choreography. It was so cutty. You lost sense of where you were in the room with the camera. You lost the movement of the actors.
This you did
mid to long takes all through this movie. I was so fucking happy.
Yeah, this like they tracked everybody really well,
Yeah.
and like you didn't sacrifice the speed of the scene for the action of the scene, which is so important.
You know, I saw Chris Stuckman. I know I've mentioned him a few times lately. He reviewed Shang-Chi, and I have to quote him here because it relates to this. He loved the bus scene.
Oh yeah,
And I said, "What's
it
so
was good?"
Yeah, the bus scene sold me on the movie when I first watched it. When you're doing these long takes, and you lose it in some films like John Wick. I'm paraphrasing. In John Wick, there are long takes, but there's very little aggressive movement with the camera. The camera doesn't get involved. It's just steadily watching.
Yeah.
As you see Keanu Reeves doing some crazy stunt work he did himself.
Yeah.
But this movie, Simu Liu did most of his own fights and a lot of his own stunts. So
It was impressive.
it is extremely impressive. Actually, if you look him up, you can find a bunch of videos of him as a martial artist
Fair enough.
before he was like an actor.
Makes sense.
And he, it's like you can tell that he's doing all of it, but the camera is staying on it for a long time and aggressively moving, and it makes it so engaging to watch.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that's an interesting point.
So I really enjoyed the bus scene. The scaffolding scene was like, they're on par for me. Especially
they were both really well done.
Especially that knife fight with the Death Dealer. Fucking sick.
Yeah, them kind of going back and forth, like knocking it out of each other's hand, and grabbing it in midair and stuff like that.
It's like you could understand the geography, understood where each character was, who had the upper hand. It was sick.
Yeah. I mean, overall, like this was a really good entry into the MCU.
Yeah.
You know, it leaves you with questions. It has some really fast paced fucking action sequences, as well as like some really fun like random side characters. We didn't even talk about Ben Kingsley. Sir Ben Kingsley coming back as Trevor
Slattery.
Yeah.
An actor.
He had the best comedy moments in the movie, if you ask me.
I think
and that was super, like, I did not know that he was in the movie at all.
I think he slightly overstayed his welcome.
I think near the end. I think near the end he definitely did.
Why?
But
I
also
think
that's part of the character, though.
Absolutely.
Where it's like you can't shake this fucking guy. Like,
he's just a bit annoying.
Yeah. But yeah, like seeing him on the front line with like a blade ready to like maybe chop down a soul sucker, I was like, I don't believe this is him.
Well, they paid that off. He was playing dead.
Yeah, that was funny though. Yeah. So that was the in character moment. It was like, yeah, that guy would be the guy playing dead on the battlefield.
So, yeah. Great movie, well worth watching.
Definitely. And it gets you the type of choreography that they were able, fight choreography and action sequences that they were able to pull off in this movie. Gives you hope infinitely for other types of choreography and movies. Like Moon Knight. I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of gritty kind of fight sequences they come up with in Moon Knight.
Did you see the Moon Knight suit leak?
I did. I heard that they went after people about that.
Dude, they sued the fuck out of some people.
Yeah. I took a screenshot of it.
Me too.
I was like, okay.
I'm not posting this
anywhere. But yeah, they did go after people. But yeah, so you know what I mean? Like this movie, not only does it do some great representation for a lot of people, but it goes out of its way to just like keep the pace, to keep the fun, to keep the fucking like that like heartwarming family element.
Yeah.
And it
Heartwarming and a bit soul crushing.
Heartwarming and a bit soul. Yeah, not soul sucking.
Soul
But, but you know, it just does it's a well-rounded MCU movie, if you ask me. So
before we leave, it's really the first movie proper Phase 4. You can tell it feels quite isolated for most of the film, but at the end you get the setup for what's to come.
Absolutely.
And it's hopefully it's paying it forward. It's the first chunk of stuff where I'm like, this is truly laying new groundwork.
Yeah, dude, and 100% it is. It's like there, you know, and that can be the statement, right? Like that.
Endgame,
you know, bringing, you know, not having Doctor Strange involved in any cameo role, having Wong in there, having like all these other elements that you're introducing. It's not hashing out things that have been done. It's introducing new elements and new ways to tell further MCU stories. So,
I really
involving
hope
characters that you can grow more.
I really hope Wong has just for a long time been like midnighting as like a fucking cage fighter.
Yeah, dude.
They all knew his name.
Well, exactly. But you know, just throwing that out there, like I think, wow, God, what's the actor's name?
Benedict Wong.
Yeah, Benedict Wong. So I think he has become kind of like a low key, like cult fan favorite in the MCU. You know what I mean? Like, I think that he's even more.
He's done like fun stuff in all of his little roles.
Exactly. And I think some sections of fans probably like him more than some major characters, you know, because he's just been like a really fun fucking background guy.
And hopefully, once again, the less cynical side, maybe he can get a bit more screen time.
Exactly, man. I wouldn't mind that because he brings a lot to the table. So
this has been Matinee Edition, episode 81. Thanks for listening.
Get your butts out there and into some cinema seats.
Follow us on Instagram at Old Heart Radio, on Twitter at Old Heart in Space. Me and Jared today just filmed some stuff. Might be seeing the light of day soon.
Oh boy.
We'll see. We'll do a. I was thinking we should call it Old Heart Radio annual checkup. We should call it
the annual checkup. Exactly.
So we will we'll be discussing future plans soon.
Yeah.
You know how we should wrap this up, man?
How?
Welcome to the Hotel California.
Dude, so
such a lovely place. Such a lovely face. We're living it up.
Aquafina would probably be Spencer's favorite character in the entire MCU.
Absolutely. Good night, y'all.
Good night.